Well, today we're in the bedroom, which is where I'm doing this video here today, and I have a little different, interesting thing to show you all today as far as what I am doing. And sometime in the past, I have made these charms like this, where I've taken the pieces of bark and with the rotary tool engraved the little crosses into them. And I've used different string at different times with different clasps for different ones of these, and I will say that it's like, as you can see, this kind of string that's been on some of them, this string breaks easily. I didn't realize that until after I kind of had some made and wore some around. And one time there was even a guy at the coffee shop where my stuff is for sale. I gave one to him, and it just so happened the string on his broke, so I went out and got these clasps a while back, and you can kind of see they're kind of broad here, and I have put one on the back of this one. And with all these little hooks, these little screw eyes I've put on the back, some of the screw eyes on some of them are big enough that a bigger string can go through, but there are ones I have here where the little screw eye is so little, and moreover it is positioned in such a way that it would be hard to really get the whole big string through and tie the knot to get it to attach to the back. So I have decided that I would take these little clasps that I purchased and put the clasps on the backs of the hooks and kind of close it like this with the little wires. And see, as you can kind of notice, I've just kind of gotten it together like this. Got a little hook on the back that'll be big enough for the thicker string to go through. I haven't decided yet fully how I'm gonna do as far as just keeping the clasp from breaking open too easily, because one of these things, they can get hooked on something and that clasp is so thin that it could probably even, you know, get widespread and come apart if it got too close to something. And I've had necklaces when I was a teenager which had little clasps on them that sometimes happened with if I got too close to something that was some kind of wire, that it would just hook up on. And I'm just here to say that this little work of mine is just really, really, really coming together and making a lot of ways for us to go about a little bit more work with crafting and all. I get kind of busy in life, and so since I'm always wanting to film myself doing something, and since this was just a good day to do it, I thought I would come on and do it. I am currently off from work right now, and what I'll show you all in a future video is these things that I purchased today to take to my shows for my necklaces to hang on. Because I will say, for another thing, that these can be little heavy wooden charms, and I've sort of worked a long ways about things, getting things together, and you can see I've put 2020 on the back of these for the year I made them, and that'll be known as the year of the pandemic. So you might even notice that it might have taken a pandemic for me to get started into this business, but I will say that as far as how the work comes along, it goes and it comes, and I'm just getting more grateful for it. And as I purchase those things today, the little things from the Hobby Lobby for the necklaces to hang from, it's going to be a little work to come a long way to take care of little matters and get matters under control. We've got a lot to do these days, and so it's the holiday season. I'd say it's getting closer to the Thanksgiving. It's only in a few more days as I do this video. It'll probably be come and gone by the time this video is uploaded. I don't know when, but it is a time when, for one thing, in the school system I work for, where I work in a cafeteria, our superintendent gave us an entire week off for Thanksgiving. This has probably been the first time in a school year in my life that this has been the case, and so we are grateful, we are blessed for that, and we know sometimes that there's a certain number of days they pay us for in a year, and I mean they just kind of within my system just pay us year round because they give us a certain number of hours per year, and they give us an annual salary that they divide into several pay periods, which makes our pay the same per every deposit. So that's what one of the things I like about working in that system. There are times we get a little time off in the winter for inclement weather, and sometimes it'll just kind of keep us in for days. I hadn't been doing this YouTube channel yet back at the time when some of this stuff in the winter was just happening, but what I will say is that last year, due to COVID, I mean, students were in virtual learning, and those of us who worked in the cafeterias only worked 2 days a week. So during that time, we were snowed in a lot of days, and some of those days we would have been off anyway because they weren't our work days during the pandemic schedule. But I will mention on one of those evenings, I got the news that the singer Carmen Lisciardello, however his last name is pronounced, died. He was just the musician of my childhood, and so we kind of knew him well as kids. We were into his music, we were into him, and so, and we were thankful that he's in heaven with the Lord now, because he had been sick a long time. He had planned on getting well and doing another tour, but we all know that the Lord's ready for you when he's ready for you. So that's kind of the way things work in the kingdom. So it's just a time of testimony, and there's a lot to be said about him online. They're kind of doing his ministry a little further now, trying to take things a little further in. Kind of went over to that place where the hook is on the wall, and there's like some bigger charms I have here than the ones I had over there. Like you can see, these are slightly bigger. They have a bigger cross engraved into them. There's a few of these I've made, and with all this, and I have one more show to come up before Christmas. I think since so much of my stuff is already sold, I'll be happy to get to take these out to that show. I'm going to work on the crosses right now and try to take the crosses out then. But there will be probably other shows in the spring for which I will hope to take out my little necklaces with the peace sign on them that were done from little cut-offs of logs. This kind of work goes well, and I'm seeing that what's beneficial to my business is that the work is done right. Some things we don't know how they're going to go. Some things I'm hoping to do. Maybe a few packages between now and Christmas I might hope to send out. There are some friends for which I do it every year, but been kind of limited to it this year because of the way that shipping costs are going up. So we've got things going a little bit different for us, and we're taking care of matters the best we can. These are just the busy times of our lives in the year, and I will say that I just remember so much from when I was so much younger, and even once I started kind of getting well into my 20s and closer to 30, I would think about how Christmas would be a little bit different as you got to be an older adult than it would be as a kid, or, and different as an adult, rather, maybe different as an older adult than as a younger adult, but different as a young adult than it was as a kid. Because, I mean, kids, they're just always looking forward to things, but, adults, they just kind of get busier around the holiday. We just have a lot more work to do. We have so much more to take care of, and this is a world where we are indeed all called to be on the lookout for one another during these times, because these times, they can be trouble to us. They can be a lot of work and time to us. They can make us think of things that might not always go our way in real life, but things that we can always learn to see from a new and better point of view as time goes on. Sometimes we just see things differently as an adult than we did as a kid. Sometimes these days we just kind of have to work our way into things to kind of get things like they need to be, get things like they ought to be. The little things in life we need are just the little things that we always look up to. The things we see, things we hear, and things we know. All the good things of life that come to us in ways. Looks like I'm going to have to go fetch a yardstick to kind of measure out some more string with, but I think I will take this with me and let you all follow along as I go, because I have to get one here, and I believe there is some string down here, and I've got this way to go about things. I want to show you all some more stuff. And do you see these? These are my peace signs hanging on the wall as necklaces that have the little different colors of string used for them. Sometimes it's hard to kind of focus this thing from a certain angle, but that's what I'm showing you there. Here in this one, I have these other crosses you can see with the red and blue and purple strings, and you can see those peace signs with the thick black strings over there. But as for this, I say we've got a little black string and a little brown string. We're going to try to divide the crosses up here, see what we can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 6 here. 4, 5. And we got 9 over here. I do believe there was probably a 10th little charm that was probably on that one that probably gave to that boy who worked in that place over there. But I say that there's probably like one of these we've got over here. This one has such a big screw eye into it that we could probably take a piece of brown string here, and what we do is we make it a yard long, because when I first started carving and first started getting introduced to these necklaces at a show I was at, there was even one that I purchased there that was where the string was a yard long. So I try to make my strings about the same, make them a yard long, and that's how we measure this. I'm gonna try to get me out a little pair of scissors here and perhaps use that to kind of cut the string a little. These are my fabric scissors, so probably ought not to be doing this. However, we have more brown string left than we have black string, so decided I'd go ahead and use it. And what I'll do is, first of all, take these two ends of the string, tie a little knot here into the two ends to kind of make the end of the circle, the place where they intersect, the place where the ends are tied together here, and kind of, you know, halfway between on the other end, kind of take this, put it through the ring, and kind of open it up here, put the knot through here, and once it goes through, it just kind of makes it where you get the thing through, and ta-da, here you have it. However, most of these, I mean, the rings on them are just too skinny to do that with, so it has to be a little different for some of these. Unfortunately, that's what I'm probably showing you here. Apparently we got one that we probably put it on when it might not have been necessary to do so. I think some of these look like they have rings that are big enough to go through it, and so I'd say these are all the ones. There's some of these where I can say the rings are definitely too little and too skinny, but we're going to try to separate these, try to get the ones that can go through separated from the ones that it can't. And there's just things we work on here, so I'm going to try to figure something a little bit out here. And this one is a little one. That's a little one. That's a little one. That's a little one. This is big enough. This is big enough. this ring is big enough. And I'll tell you, I've got probably a few here where the ring is probably the right size to go through it, the right size for the string. It just kind of tells us a little more about these things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we got 5 little ones there, and turns out we've got some here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 9 of these, so I think we're probably going to cut maybe 4 yards of brown and 4 yards of black, since, like I said, we have more brown left than we have black. So we're gonna cut it here and cut it here, make that little string like that, and go to the other end, cut it at the other end, and here we go, working our ways through this little maze of life. It's just a little ways that we go through little things, take care of things just as they need to be. Cut the string here. There's a place where they will intersect again, kind of come to the end. Take these 2 here, cut halfway between them, and so that's how it goes. I think we're going to have a few here that are going to work in that particular way. So let's take one off here, and we will now tie the knot on this and make it go through. See little things, interesting things we can do. Looks like it's getting to the point where sooner or later we might have to buy some more string, but this is going to do for now. It's going to work for right now, and it is going to go through here just fine, and we're going to take it here automatically. It's going to come out just right, make its way through, and this is how it turns out to look. So a little more work shall come a longer way, take us to a point where we might eventually stay. It's going to be a long, long ways to go with this. So out of all we have, let's just make the best. I can probably remove this other clasp here, and let's go working on it just a little bit more, just to kind of get it better, just to kind of make it bright and easy and simple, and show a little care for the world, make people see a little light in us, because that's what the cross is for. The cross is supposed to make a difference. The cross is the symbol of Jesus' death and his resurrection. For of all things, we put things together and make things new, kind of try to brighten things out just a little more, showing a little grace now and then to the people who you could probably say from seeing them they have the most need. We're hoping to kind of reach out here. There's a certain ministry out there that I support, and only say that because they're the ministry with whom that these are sold on commission. The little crafts, they come and go, and sometimes, just sometimes, you see a little bright side to things, make things all seem great and new and easy and simple, simplified things that shall brighten a place a little more, help a place have a little bit more business and support, because that's what the market is all about. The market is a place where stuff is sold for good, stuff is sold well. It's a place where we hope to have many more things to go for a better future, because I say that the future shall begin with you and me. And what I see here, I will say that this is a little string that shall make its way around, show people places that can never be found. Grace is given, grace is free. God sent his son for you and me. I want to say that this is little grace of God, making little things happen that may seem a little awkward or out of line to us. Sometimes, just sometimes, we don't understand how the Lord works in all his mysterious ways. I'm gonna kind of do one more here. Might even be time to bring the video to an end fairly soon, but this is just the work that I've been called to do. It's just a little thing where we see and we know that God is good and loves us so. I think I've got these to the point where they're coming a little more easy, working a long way, seeing things seen. I guess I'd say I've got one more from which I can remove this little clasp at the top, kind of put a little bit of a string through it, and make it all come out new. So, as for now, I've got a little thing to show here as to what I'm going to do. It turns out I need to see how much I have left of this. I only have a yard left, so enough to make one more necklace. So we're going to cut it in the place where it needs to be, and we're going to try to take this a little more freely. It's just a little time when God's on our side of all things and making us the world so much better. I have to do a little thing here where what I'm going to do is kind of measure out 36 inches on this one and take it from here, kind of stretch it out to the other end, kind of make it twice as long. We're going to cut it down the middle, then we're going to do another the same. It's just going to be a little work to go a long way. Time to fight it, time to make it, time to see fit what we see bacon, time to know what to do. Here we go, for me and you. It's just the little work comes a long way, and we're gonna put this together always. So let's kind of put it to the end, see a little thing happen, see it now and then, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turns out we've got 6 pieces of black string. We got 4 pieces of black and 1 piece of brown left. So about time we bring this little video to a pleasant and decent end.